Today we're going to be looking at a few more aspects of reflexives, including using reflexives with body parts and reflexives with questions. So, some quick review. Remember that all reflexive verbs must have a reflexive pronoun with it, either se or one of its conjugations, me, te, nous, vous, ce. Remember that the reflexive pronoun cannot stand on its own. It's not enough to give me the pronoun itself. You can't just say je me. You have to say je me lève. The verb itself, in that last case, lever, will conjugate with its normal present tense, which includes any kind of stem changes, such as enlever and sécher. If the verb is already irregular, such as aller, it will follow whatever irregular conjugation it typically has in the present tense. Remember as well that a negative sentence puts the ne and the pas around both the reflexive pronoun and the verb. So if my original sentence was je me lève, and I want to say I don't get up, I would say je ne me lève pas. So let's look at question number 1. Translate the following sentence into French. I do not get up at 7 o'clock. Looking at reflexives with body parts. This is actually the same with both body parts and clothing, though all of the verbs that we have in this particular unit really apply to body parts. Since the reflexive pronoun is already telling us to whom the action is happening, because in order to be reflexive, the subject and the object of that verb have to be the same, that means that we do not need to use a possessive if we have a body part or a piece of clothing. This would be seen as redundant in a reflexive sentence because we already know whose body it is we're talking about. Whoever the subject was is doing it to themselves, so we already know who it is we're talking about. Therefore, we're going to use the definite article. Okay, so we've seen this already in sentences like je me brosse les dents, I'm brushing my teeth. But we can use this even with other verbs. So, for example, if I want to say I am washing my hands, okay, je me lave, I'm washing a part of me, so therefore I am both the subject and the object of that sentence. Therefore, I don't have to say mes mains because we already know whose hands they are. They're mine. Je me lave les mains. Please remember, however, that there are some verbs/phrases which name a body part in English but do not in French. So the two examples we have this unit are se peigner and se coiffer. So in English, we comb our hair and we style our hair, but in French, you just comb. I style myself. The end. These verbs simply must be memorized in context. There's no way of looking at it to be able to tell whether or not it takes the body part after it. There's not very many of them. It's just a cultural point that you have to remember. So, questions 2 and 3. Write 2 sentences in French describing the picture below. So, one sentence telling me about what the girl in picture number 2 there is doing, and one sentence telling me about the guy in picture number 3. If you didn't already know, the word for face in French is le visage. Right? Finally, using reflexives with questions. Reflexives with questions are easy because they work the exact same way as non-reflexive verbs and questions. You have 4 different possible ways to make questions depending on what kind of question you're asking. The easiest way is to just put a question mark after it. So for example, if I want to ask, are you getting dressed? I can just say, tu t'habilles? I don't have to do anything extra with that sentence already. I just conjugate you are getting dressed, throw a question mark on the end to make sure my voice goes up. Tu t'habilles? If it is a yes or no question, you can always throw est que before the subject. Est-ce que vous vous rasez? This can only be used with yes or no questions. Please remember that. A simple sentence like, are you shaving? You could easily say yes, I am, or no, I'm not. But we couldn't use this for a more open-ended question, like if I wanted to ask, when do you shave? If I want to ask about that kind of specific question, I have to figure out, first of all, what the specific question word is. Okay, so for example, when we're talking about when, we have the word quand. And you can put them in one of 2 places. You can either put it at the beginning of the sentence, quand elle se maquille, or you can put it at the end where the answer would go. Elle se maquille quand? It doesn't actually matter. As long as the elle se maquille is all sticking together, never split that up with any question word, but either putting the question at the beginning, like we do in English, when does she do her makeup? Or in French, you can also put your question word where the answer would go. So for example, you would say, in response to this question, elle se maquille à 7 heures. So she does her makeup at 7 o'clock. The at 7 o'clock is the answer we're looking for. So we figure out where that goes in the sentence, and then we put our question quand right in that exact same spot. Elle se maquille à 7 heures, therefore becomes the question, or the answer to the question, elle se maquille quand? Either way works, it doesn't actually matter. So give it a shot. Write a short conversation asking about any one of our morning routine tasks. You can choose any subject pronoun you want to use, any one of those 15 tasks, and any form of question. It can be a simple yes-no question, or you can ask something specific such as when, or where, or with whom. Your answer to number 4 should be the question about that task that you are asking. And your answer to question number 5 will be your response to the question that you asked in number 4.